Imagine what life would be like if we had no screens, no phone, no switch, no any, no anything at all like this. I believe that we spend too much time on screens, and that we need to be spending less times. By spending too much time on screens, we are missing out on opportunities such as hiking or being in or doing something else fun, say in bed. I believe that it messes up or affects your health, such as day-to-day life things or mental health. So today I will be discussing how being on a screen too much messes with your day-to-day life, mental health, and benefits that you could get from being on a screen for less time, like you should. So it affects day-to-day health. One way is it affects day-to-day health is obesity. Well, if you're spending more time on a screen, you aren't spending the time exercising, and you are spending time less time sitting down. Say if I was doing something such as like Smash Bros for 5 hours, well, I could use some of that time to exercise, but instead I'm playing Smash Bros, which is letting the fat gather and which gather around the organs, which is then in turn making me heavier, making me more obese, which can lead to heart attacks and obesity and diabetes, learned in Health 295. It can also cause sleep problems because you have the blue light emission coming from your screen going into your brain. Well, these waves, blue light emission that's coming from, say, this phone, can affect blue light emission, and it's activity that's going on in your brain while you're trying to sleep, which really can keep you awake and not have good sleep. You can also have neck problems because, say, if I'm sitting down right here playing my Switch, I'm like bending over to play my Switch now instead of doing instead of standing up in good posture, which it can cause back problems, which I do have, especially being visually impaired. I have really severe back problems, and I'm only 19 now, so. And it can also strain your eyes because you are now staring like this at a screen, and which can really hurt your eyes because you blink less when you look at a screen, so it causes your eyes to really dry up and you have problems. And I got this information from Raleigh-Wisehealth.com, and here are some ways that it can affect your mental health. It can affect your socializing issues because you are now focused on a screen and you are kind of more by yourself, which means you don't get that humanoid socializing. Instead, you are now sitting at home by yourself doing things. So when you go back to, say, a situation like COVID where you're home for 2 years and then you go back, it's like, oh, hi. You're kind of more used to being on your own, so like seeing people can be really awkward, which makes the socializing a lot worse. So that is one way it can affect your mental health. Another way is it can cause depression and anxiety because if you're, say, on something like Facebook or Twitter, people will post their life that looks all good, which sometimes it's always not, but they post this good life, and that you are now struggling to think that you and your life is good like their life, and that you just feel sad that your life isn't like their life, and it can cause your self-image to go down. It can cause depressing thoughts that you aren't good like they are, when in reality you might not be. It can get as bad as, say, suicide, because you are so depressed that people often will commit suicide because your life isn't as good as their life. And I got this information from argumenthealth.com, and here are some benefits to spending less time on social media. You decrease stress levels because you are it decreases, say, your stress about doing things because you are now spending less time on social media, and you have more time to work on things and figure out what you want to do, which it can also decrease your stress and anxiety, because your anxiety as well, because you are focused on doing other things that aren't worrying about people's lives, so that can really be a helpful decrease. You can get better sleep, especially if you turn it off 2 hours before you go to bed, because you don't have these blue light waves going through your head while you sleep, and your brain can calm down because it's not trying to emit these blue light waves that came in. It's not trying to work through the waves, these blue light waves, and instead you are now focused on, like, your brain can be focused on doing other things that while you sleep, such as healing your body or dreams or other things. You can focus on other things if you spend less time, such as schoolwork for a community class. You can focus on the community class instead of spending 5 hours on social media or whatever, meaning you'll have more time to talk with other people and work through the classes and work through college and whatever else you need to do. It can also help give more time for exercise, because if you are spending less time on, say, the Switch playing Smash Bros. Or Mario Kart, then you are in turn focusing on, you can have more time to exercise, lift weights, walk, swim, or whatever you need to do, or hike, which is really popular in Bend. It causes less eye strain because you're not staring at the screen, but you can look at, say, something else, like you're reading your homework papers, or you're writing things down on paper like this, which is like emitting different light. I got this from, which these are all great benefits, and which I got from the source called Jamie analysis.com. I'm sorry, I really butchered it, but it's an interesting, but it's a great website that shows benefits of being on screen for less hours, and that is why screens are bad for you, and why, such as how it affects your day-to-day life and your mental health, and also some benefits if you do spend less time on screens. And that is why, so that is an overview of why you should be spending less time why you should be spending less time on screens according to the benefits, and why spending a whole bunch of time can really affect your daily life and mental health. And my challenge for you today is to spend 2 hours on social media a day, and max it to 2 hours. Or if you are somebody that spends more than 4 hours on social media, say such as 5 hours, limit it to just half of the time. Or say if you spend 6 hours, limit it to 3 hours. So that way it's a slow, minimal decrease on social media, which I will definitely be trying to do, because I play way too much games such as Smash Bros. Or Mario Kart. And yeah.